Do you often struggle with thoughts such as, I never get my way? Why does this always happen with me? Or July is always a bad month for me? If so, or if you are with someone who struggles or entertains these kinds of thoughts, stay with me. There is something important to be said about these thoughts. There is an urban legend which goes by the name The Curious Case of the Falling Toast, which goes something like this. Whenever a buttered toast falls down, it falls buttered side first. Now, before you go and spoil some perfectly good toast, keep hearing me out. This is obviously not true. It's not true that every time a toast falls down, it always lands buttered side first. But there is something to be said about why someone may think that that is the case, and why did that actually become an urban legend. It's because, if you think about it, if the toast would fall buttered side first, you'll have to maybe mop the floor. Maybe it also leads to a conflict at home. Maybe it also leads to a delay in whatever it is you wanted to after eating the toast, right? Which means that every time the toast would fall buttered side down, it would leave a stronger memory for you, which is why you always only remember that, which is why it appears that this is what always happens. You see, the saying that the butter toast always lands buttered side first is a story that our minds cook up for us based out of the experiences and the memories we have from those experiences. So, part of it is true. The buttered toast does indeed sometimes land buttered side first. But does it do that always? Or does it even do that on most occasions? Is something that you need to think more about. And this is one modality which we seldom consider when we think about our own life experiences, which is what leads to these statements such as, this is what always happens with me. You never help me with anything. I never get my way around here. July is always a bad month for me. People with P in their names always hurt me. Please note that what I'm trying to convey here is very different than saying that whoever is saying a statement such as this is completely wrong. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm rather saying is that the intensity of the emotion and the intensity of the story behind thoughts such as this almost always goes unquestioned. And it is almost always fueled by the fact that we only remember those particular kinds of instances, or we're only thinking about those particular kinds of instances, which is what intensifies the entire story even more. It's like that saying, nothing in life is as important or as big or as intense as we think it is when we are thinking about it. One practical tip that I advise in a scenario such as this is real conversation. And real conversation, firstly, with yourself. So, if you find yourself struggling with these kinds of thoughts, actively engage your memory, actively engage your mind, and think about instances where what you're saying may not be true. So, for example, if you tend to feel that you never get your way around your home, maybe try and engage and think whether that is actually true, or whether you're only remembering instances where you were not able to get your way, which is what happens with all of us. And I specifically mention real conversation because such a conversation with yourself needs to be real and needs to be honest. So if you find that a thought such as this, which maybe be the backbone of a big part of your identity, if you find such a thought to be false, do not shy back from admitting, at least to yourself, that it was a false thought. And it's human to be biased in your thinking. It's okay. But it's not okay to not acknowledge it, right? So, having an honest conversation such as this, firstly, internally, a huge, huge, huge percentage of your issues would get resolved by having honest internal dialogue such as this. And then, secondly, such a real conversation also needs to happen with other people involved in this scenario. Of course, you have to use your discernment. Maybe you cannot have such a conversation with everyone. Let's say maybe you cannot have that with your manager at work. But if it is a relationship that is important to you, it's important to have a real, honest conversation which involves both talking as well as listening. Well, okay, then that's about it for today's video. You can find more such mind expanding stuff on my YouTube account. So make sure you check it out and make sure you share it with your friends and family. Until next time, peace out.